This little video is to show you how to change a circle, just a normal flat circle, into a cylinder and into a sphere. So the first thing you're going to do is make sure you have your materials. You need to have something to draw your circle around. Depending on the size, you could have something smaller. You could use sellotape. You could use any kind of tape. You could use any shape that is round to trace with. So it doesn't really matter. If you want, you could just do it freehand too. You need to have your HB pencil. That's what we're going to start with. In order to shade, you need to have a little bit of a softer pencil. Most of you do have a 2B. I've got a 6B, which I love to work with because it makes it really nice and dark. But if you don't have one, you just need to press hard with either your HB or your 2B. Try not to use your eraser until you absolutely have to. And then there's a paper stump. So many of you won't have a paper stump. You can use your fingers, work just as well. The paper stump just allows you to control it a little bit better, or you can use a earbud. Right, so the brief was to draw 4 circles. So I've got 3. I'm just going to quickly show you with your HB. You're going to just hold whatever it is you're tracing around and draw your 4 circles. Before you start, just plan it a little bit because the question says to draw the first circle, then you're labeling it A, B, C, D. So to draw circle A as a flat 2D circle. So I'm just going to put 2D in there. You don't need to. We're going to change these now into 3D. So I've drawn a little arrow here. The arrow is where the light is coming from. Because the thing that makes something 3D when you shade it is dependent on how the light falls on the object. So you're going to have an area that's going to be light, and as you go around it's going to be darker. I'm going to start straight away using my dark pencil just because it goes much easier, and I'm going to shade around the edge in the direction of the circle, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it look like a sphere. So a sphere is a 3D circle, a little bit like the Earth or the Moon. Okay. Now how you can use this paper stump is when you get ugly lines like that, you can use the paper stump to just smooth it out nicely. So what we want to do is we want to try and make this look not flat, but we want to try and have a little bit of volume. You could spend ages on this. This is just a quick example of how to do it. Whatever you do, make sure that you have some really dark areas and you have some really light areas and that you have some white. If you lose most of your white, your sphere is not going to pop. So I'm going to just add a little bit of dark there as well. And I hope you think that it's looking a little rounder than what it did. So there's not a lot of shading. You don't have to put a lot of shading in. You can just put a little bit of, that is your sphere. Right, your next one, C, was to create a ball. So any kind of ball that you have, you could have a tennis ball, you could have a soccer ball, you could have a ping pong ball, you could have a golf ball. So I would like you to be using a ball. Of course, this morning I couldn't find a ball, so I'm just going to make it up, but I prefer you not to. So now we're also going to do the same thing and try and make this look like a specific kind of ball. So same, we want to make it a shaded picture. And again, we're going to use our soft pencil. So that this is a tonal drawing. In other words, a drawing that has light and it has dark. And because I want it to be a bit of a tennis ball, I'm going to make it a little bit fuzzy around the outside. So I'm going to make that outside edge, actually mine just looking a little bit like a cricket ball, Okay, hopefully yours will look much better than mine, because you will find a ball before you sit down to do this. Right, and the last one we're going to do, we're not going to create a sphere now, we are going to create a cylinder. So if you look at the glass is a cylinder, we can see right through it. If you look at these little containers that have stuff in, they are also cylinders. So we're going to draw a cylinder. Now the easiest way is again to draw your circle at the bottom. That's why I said plan earlier, because we've left a little bit of space. And I'm just going to draw another circle at the top. This time I think I must rather use my HB pencil and not the 2B. And then I'm going to use a ruler. I'm going to join up the two edges. And then I'm going to erase what I don't need anymore. And if you're drawing a glass, it's quite tricky, but there you have your cylinder. And then instead of just leaving it like that, we're actually going to make it into a specific object. So I'm going to make mine look as though it's got a pattern on it. And maybe I'm going to put something in it. Right, so there I've got my cylinder. Obviously I'll need to rub out there, which I should have done before, so it doesn't look as though the shape's going through. You could draw, and here again I'd like you to copy an actual object, not to just make it up. You could draw a teacup, you could draw a glass, you could draw a vase, you could draw your container that your pencil crayons are in, if they are in a container. Again, if you want to, you can use your finger instead of that. And there you go. Happy drawing.